Okay, here we go on Quota Management System 2, the second video. Last time we just finished up with the objectives to the Quota Management System on Quota Management System 1, the QMS 1 video. And so now we're going to look into the nuts and bolts of how the Quota Management System works. We've got the reasons why it was introduced and the reasons for it. And what was hoped to be accomplished, and now we're going to look at how it actually works. So in October 1986, the Quota Management System was introduced, and the catch was divided up based on past catch histories, and as we talked about just in the past. So what you got was whatever percentage of the overall catch you were catching before the Quota Management System came in. If you were catching 5% of the snapper catch every year, then you were given quota rights to catch 5% of the snapper that was going to be allowed to catch the next year. Okay, and as we said before, if you had been misreporting and underreporting what you'd actually caught, then you missed out a little bit on your share. And some people would say, fair enough, you were trying to dodge taxes and the like. But also some people may have, and there are lots of allegations about who's done it and when, but may have reported that they were catching much more than they actually caught, even paid taxes on that, but when it came time to divvy up the catch and they were given quota, that quota was worth a lot more than whatever penalty they would have paid by paying extra taxes in the lead up. Okay, so if we look at how the QMS works, if you get out your Quota Management System flowchart, each fish stock has been defined its own quota management area. Okay, so for snapper, there are multiple stocks. There's a stock that lives. There's a stock here on the East Coast, so it lives from the tip of the East Coast to the tip of the North Island. And this stock tends to breed amongst itself. Most all of the breeding is from this population. There's very little migration, emigration, or immigration, or movement of the stocks around the coast or the East Coast. The East Cape, or around into the West Coast. Alright, so this tends to be one stock, and since it's one stock, it needs to be managed as one unit. So if you give a total catch allowed to the commercial fishers for snapper for the whole country, then the ones that fish it over here, they might decide, oh, well, it's a lot easier. I can get out a lot more days over here because the weather is so much better, or the prevailing winds make this sea so much rougher. I might as well just fish it over here. Then what's going to happen is this fishery may be quite underfished, and this fishery might be quite overfished. So since it's a separate stock, it has to be managed as a separate unit. Okay, so each fish stock has been defined its own quota management area. The quota management area may be the same area as the fishery management or several fishery management areas combined. So we'll have to get back to what fishery management areas are. But if you go to your Quota Management System flowchart, if you look at number 10, you can put in the fisheries management area, and 11, you could put in the quota management area. And we'll get back to how that works. We're just starting to populate the fields in the Quota Management System flowchart. Okay, so put in quota management area for number 11 and fisheries management area for number 10. Okay. And the total allowable catch is set for each fin fish stock. Okay. So here we go. So the fisheries management areas you can see in this diagram. We got the big one down here, Southland. Number 3, the southeast coast. Number 4, southeast Chatham Rise. 2, Central East. 10 is the Kermadec area. 9, Auckland West. 8, Central West. 7, Challenger. And number 2, I think is that 1 or 2? Or number 4? No, it's going to be 1 or 2. Number Auckland East. Anyway, so these are fisheries management areas. They are essentially areas that are divided up on some of the environmental characteristics. Okay, so the stocks don't necessarily follow these particular boundary lines, but these are divided up on environmental characteristics of those particular areas. Okay, so those are the fisheries management areas, and they are boundaries put in place for management purposes. Okay, so here are your fisheries management areas. Here are your quota management areas. So these are different for every stock. Okay, so if we take snapper for an example, there will be the majority of the snapper caught in area 1 and area 8. Okay, a little bit of a west coast stock and an east coast stock. The Central East, there's a lot less snapper caught down in Hawke's Bay around Gisborne than there are things like blue cod, gurnard, and the like. Very, very little snapper, if any, would be a very incidental bycatch in Area 3, and the same goes for Area 7, although a little bit caught in the sounds. Okay, so we've got, these are based on breeding stocks, as we said before. Area 10, there's probably very little snapper up there, but a certain amount of total allowable catch is given. The total allowable catch is set for each one of these areas. So there'll be a total allowable catch for snapper in Area 1, a total allowable catch for snapper in Area 2, and also for Area 8 and 7 and 3 and 10. And the stocks are assessed individually, and so they'll have an individual total allowable catch for that quota management area. Now, if we were talking about blue sharks, then blue sharks are highly migratory. There's only one quota management area for all blue shark. Okay? Highly migratory. They may be here one day, they might be here another day, another week later they might be over here, and another 3 weeks later they might be up here. And then they may be way up outside the exclusive economic zone and then come back. So it's one breeding stock as far as we know, so it's managed as one population. Okay. So how the quota management system works. The total allowable catch is determined by assessing the maximum sustainable yield, as we've talked about in our fisheries theory. And the maximum sustainable yield can be put onto number 5 in your quota management system, box number 5 in your quota management system flowchart. And so the maximum sustainable yield is as we know, the most amount of fish that can be caught without causing major declines, major environmental issues, or major declines in that population. Okay, so that is the most amount of fish that can be taken from year to year and not have the population of the fish decline in size and biomass. Okay, and that is measured by using the total the take from commercial, recreational, and traditional sectors that's been reported for that year. The total allowable commercial catch is set, and that is based on the maximum sustainable yield. So the total allowable catch, okay, is essentially the same as the maximum sustainable yield, and the maximum sustainable yield, or the total allowable catch, the TAC, goes into box 6. So the maximum sustainable yield is determined. The total allowable catch is roughly the same amount, okay? And then the total allowable commercial catch is set. Now, if you look at box 7, the total allowable commercial catch is set after the recreational share is estimated, and that's box 7, and the customary share is estimated. So as we stand in New Zealand now, the recreational and customary get first precedence. This is very much in contention right now, and so what happens is the total allowable catch is estimated. They figure out what they think the recreational sector is going to take and the commercial sector, and then they subtract that from the total allowable catch in box 6, and then in 12 you can put the total allowable commercial catch. Okay, box 12 is a total allowable commercial catch. And in a fishery like Hoki, where there's very little recreational catch, almost none, then the box 7 would be a very small amount. Same with the customary share. But in the in snapper or crayfish in area 1, you could probably expect that the recreational catch will possibly exceed the commercial catch. Okay. The individual transferable quota. Okay. So once the total allowable commercial catch is given out, and that's box 12, okay, then that is divided up based along the lines of the ITQ, the individual transferable quota that you own. This, you may have been given that if you were fishing in 1986 and the 3 years previously, and that will be essentially it's a weight expressed in tons, but it is essentially a percentage of the catch that you were catching in 1986 or for 3 years previous to 1986, and that is your right. That's the right that's been given to you to catch a certain percentage of whatever is going to be allowed for that year. Okay, so that is a percentage, but you also need to know what that percentage means in tons. So you're given an ACE, which is an actual weight, and the ACE is your annual catch entitlement. ACE stands for annual catch entitlement. That is box 15. Okay, so the 12 is your total allowable commercial catch. It's divvied up along the lines of the individual transferable quota. You may have bought that quota. You may have held it since 1986. And then you are given a weight that equates to, and that is your ACE, or your annual catch entitlement, and that is box 15. Now, box 14, you might wonder what 14 is. 14 is a little bit of a reserve that's held back, and so the fisheries managers can hold that back a little bit, a small percentage of the catch, and if it looks like people are going to overcatch their individual transferable quota, then they can hold that back from being given out. If people are are following their quota allotments, then that little bit extra can be doled out later on in the year. So you can put down a reserve in 14, and the question mark over the arrow is whether or not that is going to be given out. But that's determined on the catch history for that year. Okay, I think this video is going long enough. We will stop that, and we will move on to the rest of the feedback loop in the next video.